Sometimes the best things in life happen when you stop playing it safe and start trusting the person who believes in you more than you believe in yourself. Maya stared out the bus window as pine trees rushed past in a green blur. She wasn't supposed to be here. Company retreats were usually something she avoided like the plague, but her boss had made it clear that attendance wasn't optional this time. 3 days at Pine Valley Resort with her coworkers was the last thing she needed right now. She pulled her phone out and checked her emails for the 100th time. Empty inbox. Strange how quiet work had become lately. Maybe getting away from the city would actually be good for her, though she'd never admit that out loud. The bus pulled up to a rustic lodge that looked like something from a postcard. Tall mountains surrounded the property, and Maya could smell the fresh mountain air even through the closed windows. Other employees were already grabbing their bags and chatting excitedly about the weekend ahead. "Welcome, everyone," called out Janet from HR, clipboard in hand as usual. "Please grab your room keys from the front desk and meet in the main hall in 30 minutes for our first activity." Maya groaned internally. Activities. She'd forgotten about the team-building exercises. Maybe she could sneak away and find a quiet corner to read instead. After checking in, she made her way to the main hall where about 20 of her co-workers had gathered. Round tables were set up around the room and Maya quickly chose one near the back, hoping to blend into the background. "All right, everyone, we're going to start with trust exercises," Janet announced cheerfully. "I need you to pair up with someone you don't know very well." Maya's heart sank. She barely knew anyone outside her own department, and most of those people were already paired up. She was about to raise her hand to volunteer as the odd person out, when someone tapped her on the shoulder. "Looks like we're the last two standing," said a voice behind her. She turned around to see a tall guy with dark hair and an easy smile. She recognized him from the elevator sometimes, but they'd never actually spoken. He worked in a different department, maybe design or something creative based on his casual button-down shirt and the architectural drawings she'd seen him carrying. "I'm Alex," he said, extending his hand. "Maya," she replied, shaking it briefly. "So trust exercises," Alex said with a slight grin. "On a scale of 1 to 10, how much are you looking forward to this?" Maya found herself almost smiling. -5? Ouch, I was going to say 0, but you've got me beat. Janet was explaining the first exercise. One person would close their eyes and fall backward, trusting their partner to catch them. Maya watched as pairs around the room took turns, some laughing nervously, others taking it very seriously. "Want to go first?" Alex asked. Maya hesitated. She wasn't great with trusting people, especially someone she'd just met, but everyone was watching and she didn't want to make a scene. "Sure," she said, turning her back to him and crossing her arms over her chest. "I've got you," Alex said quietly. "Just whenever you're ready." There was something reassuring in his voice. Maya took a deep breath and let herself fall backward. Alex's hands caught her shoulders firmly, steadying her before helping her stand up straight again. "See, easy," he said. "Your turn to catch me." When Alex fell backward, Maya was surprised by how solid he felt. She'd expected to struggle more, but she caught him without any problem. Maybe all those months at the gym were finally paying off. "Nice catch," Alex said as he straightened up. "You're stronger than you look." The exercises continued for another hour. They had to guide each other through an obstacle course while blindfolded, work together to solve puzzles, and share 3 things about themselves that others might not know. Maya learned that Alex loved old movies, had once backpacked through Europe for 3 months and was afraid of spiders. She found herself telling him that she collected vintage books, had never learned to ride a bike, and secretly wanted to learn how to paint. "You've never learned to ride a bike?" Alex asked, genuinely surprised. "City kid," Maya shrugged. "Never really had the opportunity." "That's actually pretty cool. Most people learn when they're kids and then never think about it again. You get to experience it as an adult, which would be totally different." Maya had never thought about it that way. Most people just found it weird when she told them. When the exercises ended, everyone headed to dinner in the lodge's dining room. Maya was planning to grab a quick meal and then retreat to her room, but Alex appeared beside her in the food line. "Mind if I sit with you?" he asked. "I don't really know anyone else here that well." They found a small table by the window overlooking the lake. The sun was starting to set, painting the water in shades of orange and pink. "This is actually pretty beautiful," Maya said, surprising herself by starting the conversation. "Yeah, it really is. I spend so much time staring at computer screens I forget how nice it is to see actual scenery. What do you do exactly? I know we work in the same building, but I'm in the architecture department. We design commercial spaces, mostly office buildings and retail complexes. Not as exciting as it sounds, Alex said with a laugh. I think it sounds interesting. I work in marketing, which is basically finding creative ways to convince people they need things they probably don't need. So you're the reason I bought that kitchen gadget I used exactly once. Maya laughed, and it surprised her. She hadn't really laughed in weeks. Probably. Sorry about that. They talked through dinner, the conversation flowing easier than Maya had expected. Alex told her about a building he was working on that would have a rooftop garden, and Maya found herself genuinely interested in the details. She told him about a campaign she'd worked on for a local animal shelter that had actually made her feel good about her job for once. It's nice when work actually means something, Alex said. Yeah, it really is. I don't get that feeling very often anymore. Why not? Maya paused, twirling her fork in her pasta. She wasn't used to people asking follow-up questions. I don't know. I used to love the creative part of marketing, coming up with ideas and seeing them come to life, but lately it feels like I'm just going through the motions. Maybe you need a change, new projects, new challenges. Maybe, Maya said, though she wasn't sure what kind of change she wanted. After dinner, some people gathered around the fireplace in the main room, but Maya was ready for some quiet time. She was heading toward the stairs when Alex caught up with her. Hey, thanks for today, he said. I was dreading this whole weekend, but you made it actually fun. Thanks for being a good partner for all those weird exercises, Maya replied. Want to grab coffee tomorrow morning before the next round of activities? Maya hesitated for just a second. She usually preferred to start her days alone, but something about Alex made her want to say yes. Sure, 7:30? Perfect. See you tomorrow, Maya. As she walked up to her room, Maya realized she was looking forward to tomorrow for the first time in a long while. Maybe this retreat wouldn't be so bad after all. Maya walked into her usual coffee shop on Monday morning, still thinking about the weekend retreat. She'd actually had a good time, which surprised her more than anything else. The trust exercises had been awkward, but talking with Alex during meals had been surprisingly easy. She was waiting in line when she heard a familiar voice behind her. Maya, no way, what are the chances? She turned around to see Alex standing there with his laptop bag, looking just as surprised as she felt. Do you come here often? She asked, then immediately cringed. Sorry, that sounded like a bad pickup line. Alex laughed. Actually, I do. I live just 2 blocks away. This is my regular Monday morning spot. Mine too. How have we never run into each other before? Different times, maybe. I'm usually here around 8. Maya checked her watch. It was 8:15. I'm usually here earlier, but I overslept today. They ordered their drinks and found a small table by the window. Maya had planned to review some reports before work, but she found herself enjoying the conversation instead. How was the rest of your weekend? Alex asked. Quiet. I finished a book I'd been putting off for months. What about you? I went for a hike up at Bear Mountain. It was pretty amazing, actually. The fall colors are just starting to change. Maya nodded, though she couldn't remember the last time she'd gone hiking, or done anything outdoors, really. You should come sometime, Alex said casually. I mean, if you're into that kind of thing. I don't really hike much, Maya admitted. Actually, I don't really hike at all. That's okay. There are easy trails, too. Sometimes it's nice to just get out of the city for a few hours. They walked to work together since their office building was only a few blocks away. Maya found herself taking a slightly different route than usual, one that Alex suggested that went through a small park she'd never noticed before. I walk this way every morning, Alex said. It adds maybe 2 minutes, but it's worth it. Maya looked around at the trees and small pond. People were sitting on benches reading, and she could hear birds singing. She'd been taking the direct route to work for 2 years and had completely missed this peaceful spot. It's really nice, she said. The next few weeks fell into an unexpected pattern. Maya would run into Alex at the coffee shop a few times a week, and they'd walk to work together through the little park. Their conversations covered everything from movies to weekend plans to work frustrations. Maya learned that Alex had grown up in a small town and moved to the city for college. He missed having space and quiet sometimes, but loved the energy and opportunities here. Alex discovered that Maya had always lived in cities, but sometimes felt overwhelmed by all the noise and crowds. "I think I'd be bored in a small town," Maya said one morning as they walked past the pond. "Maybe, but there's something peaceful about knowing everyone and having routines. Here I can go days without having a real conversation with anyone." Maya knew exactly what he meant. Before these morning walks with Alex, she'd realized that most of her interactions were just work-related or basic politeness with store clerks. One Thursday morning, Alex wasn't at the coffee shop. Maya found herself disappointed and realized she'd been looking forward to their conversations more than she wanted to admit. She took her usual route to work instead of going through the park. The next morning, Alex was back, but he looked tired. "Everything okay?" Maya asked as they got their coffee. "My mom called last night. My dad's in the hospital. Nothing too serious, but she's worried, and I'm trying to decide if I should drive home this weekend." "How far is home?" "About 4 hours. It's probably fine, but you know how it is with parents." Maya nodded, though she didn't really know. Her relationship with her own parents was complicated, and they rarely talked about personal problems. "You should go," she said. "Even if it turns out to be nothing, your mom will feel better having you there." "Yeah, you're right. I just hate leaving work hanging, especially with the Morrison project deadline coming up." "What's the Morrison project?" Alex explained that he was designing a community center for a small town outside the city. It was his first chance to lead a major project, and he was nervous about presenting his ideas to the clients next week. "It sounds really important," Maya said. "It is to me. This could be the kind of work I actually want to do long-term. Real buildings that matter to people, not just another office complex." Maya could hear the passion in his voice, and it made her think about her own work. When was the last time she'd felt that excited about a project? That afternoon, Maya did something she'd never done before. She went to Alex's floor and found his desk. He was on the phone but waved when he saw her. She left a note that said, "Good luck with everything. Your dad will be fine." She'd also included her phone number in case he wanted to talk over the weekend. Alex texted her Saturday morning, "Made it home safely. Dad's doing much better. Thanks for the encouragement." They ended up texting on and off throughout the weekend. Maya found herself telling Alex about a book she was reading, and he sent her pictures of his childhood neighborhood. She was surprised by how easy it felt to share little moments of her day with someone. On Sunday evening, Alex called instead of texting. "How's your dad?" Maya asked. "Much better. False alarm mostly. But I'm glad I came home. How was your weekend?" "Pretty quiet. I went to that farmer's market you mentioned. It was really nice. The one on 5th Street. Did you try the apple cider donuts?" "I did, actually." "You were right, they're amazing." They talked for over an hour. Maya found herself curled up on her couch, more relaxed than she'd felt in months. Alex told her about helping his mom in her garden, and Maya described her attempt at making homemade soup. "You cooked?" Alex sounded impressed. "Well, I tried to cook. It was edible, which is progress for me." When they hung up, Maya realized she was smiling. She couldn't remember the last time a simple phone conversation had made her feel so content. Monday morning, Alex was back at the coffee shop with stories about his weekend home. As they walked through the park, he stopped by the pond. "Thanks for pushing me to go home," he said. "It was exactly what I needed. I'm glad everything worked out. You know, I was thinking about what you said a few weeks ago, about work feeling like you're just going through the motions." Maya nodded. "Maybe we both need to take more risks. Do things that actually matter to us, and what do you mean?" "I don't know yet, but I think we're both capable of more than we're doing right now." As they reached their office building, Maya found herself thinking about Alex's words. Maybe he was right. Maybe it was time to stop playing it safe and start taking some chances. Maya stared at her computer screen, reading the email for the 3rd time. The words hadn't changed. The Patterson campaign, 6 months of work, had been canceled. Budget cuts, they said. New priorities, they explained. But Maya knew the real reason. Her ideas had been too creative, too different from what the client usually did. She felt like she'd been punched in the stomach. This project had meant everything to her. It was the first time in years she'd felt truly excited about her work. She'd poured her heart into every detail, every concept, every presentation. Her phone buzzed. A text from her boss. "Let's talk tomorrow morning about next steps." Maya knew what that meant. She'd probably be moved to smaller, safer projects. The kind that didn't require any real creativity or risk-taking. She gathered her things and left the office early, not caring what anyone thought. The subway ride home felt endless. Every time the train stopped, more people crowded in, making the space feel smaller and stuffier. When she finally reached her apartment, Maya threw her bag on the couch and just stood there for a moment. The silence felt overwhelming. She'd been so focused on work for months that she'd forgotten how quiet her life really was. Thunder rumbled outside, and Maya looked out the window to see dark clouds gathering. Perfect. Even the weather matched her mood. She changed into comfortable clothes and tried to read, but couldn't focus on the words. She tried watching TV, but nothing held her attention. Finally, she just sat on her couch, staring out at the rain that had started falling heavily. Her phone rang around 7. It was Alex. "Hey, how was your day?" he asked, sounding cheerful. "Terrible," Maya said, her voice flatter than she intended. "What happened?" Maya found herself telling Alex everything. About the canceled project, about how much it had meant to her, about feeling like she was never going to do work that actually mattered. "I'm sorry, Maya, that really sucks." "It's fine," she said, though it clearly wasn't. "I should have known better than to get my hopes up." "Don't say that. Getting your hopes up isn't the problem. The problem is that your company doesn't appreciate good work when they see it." Maya felt tears starting to form, which made her angry. She didn't want to cry about work. "I should let you go," she said. "Thanks for listening." "Wait," Alex said quickly. "Have you eaten dinner?" "I'm not really hungry." "When's the last time you ate anything?" Maya thought about it. She'd been too nervous to eat lunch and had only grabbed a coffee for breakfast. "I don't know. This morning, I guess. That's not good. Look, I'm coming over with food." "What's your address?" "You don't have to do that." "I'm fine. Maya, give me your address, please." Something in his voice made her give in. Maybe she didn't want to be alone tonight after all. Alex showed up 40 minutes later, soaked from the rain, carrying bags of takeout food. "You're dripping all over my floor," Maya said, but she was almost smiling for the first time that day. "Worth it. I brought Chinese food, Thai food, and pizza. I wasn't sure what you'd be in the mood for." "You brought 3 different dinners?" "I wanted to make sure we had options." Maya looked at Alex standing in her entryway, his hair wet from the rain, holding enough food for 6 people, and she started laughing. Really laughing, for the first time in weeks. "You're completely crazy," she said. "Maybe a little. But it worked, didn't it? You're smiling now." They spread the food out on Maya's coffee table and sat on the floor to eat. The storm was getting worse outside, with lightning flashing and thunder getting louder. "Tell me about this project that got canceled," Alex said as he opened the Thai food containers. It was for a small nonprofit that helps kids learn to read. They wanted a campaign that would reach parents in the community, but also celebrate the kids' achievements. Maya found herself describing all the ideas she'd had, the community events she'd planned, the way she'd wanted to showcase real families and their stories. "It sounds amazing," Alex said. "Why did they cancel it?" "They said it was too risky. Too different from their usual approach. They wanted something more traditional." "More boring, you mean?" "Basically, yeah." Alex was quiet for a moment, eating his lo mein thoughtfully. "You know what I think?" he said finally. "What?" "I think you're too good for that job." Maya looked at him skeptically. "I just got a major project canceled." "How does that make me too good?" "Because you care too much. Because you have ideas that matter. Because you want to do work that actually helps people. But if nobody wants those ideas, then you find people who do want them, or you create your own opportunities." Maya had never thought about it that way. She'd always assumed that if her current job didn't work out, she'd just find another similar job at another similar company. "What would that even look like?" she asked. "I don't know. Start your own consulting business? Work with smaller companies that actually want creative ideas. Partner with nonprofits directly." The thunder was getting louder and the lights flickered for a moment. "I could never do something like that," Maya said. "It's too risky." "Riskier than staying in a job that makes you miserable?" Maya didn't have an answer for that. They kept talking as the storm raged outside. Alex told her about his own frustrations at work, how most of his projects were just variations on the same boring office buildings. "But the community center project," he said, "that's different. That's the kind of work I actually want to do." "How did you get that opportunity?" "I asked for it." I went to my boss and said I wanted to try something new. I was terrified he'd say no, but he didn't. And if it doesn't work out, then at least I'll know I tried. They moved to the couch as the evening went on, still talking. Maya found herself sharing things she'd never told anyone at work. About how she'd always wanted to work with organizations that actually made a difference. About how she'd studied marketing because she thought it would be creative and meaningful, but had somehow ended up in a job that felt like neither. I used to have all these ideas in college, she said. Campaigns for environmental groups, strategies for local businesses, ways to help communities tell their own stories. What happened to those ideas? Life, I guess. Student loans, rent, the pressure to get a steady job. Alex nodded. I get that. But maybe it's not too late to get back to what you actually wanted to do. Lightning flashed outside, illuminating Maya's apartment in bright white light for just a moment. I'm scared, Maya said quietly. It was the first time she'd admitted that to anyone, maybe even to herself. Of what? Of failing. Of not being good enough. Of taking a risk and having it not work out. But you're already not happy. What's the worst that could happen if you tried something different? Maya thought about that. She was already feeling stuck and unfulfilled. Maybe Alex was right. The storm continued outside, but inside Maya's apartment, something had shifted. For the first time in months, she felt like she could see possibilities instead of just problems. Thank you, she said to Alex, for coming over, for listening, for bringing way too much food. Thank you for letting me in, he replied, literally and figuratively. When Alex finally left around midnight, the storm had passed. Maya stood at her window watching him walk down the street under the clear, starry sky. She realized that for the first time in a long time, she was excited about tomorrow. Maya knocked on Alex's apartment door, holding a box of pastries from their favorite coffee shop. She'd never been to his place before, but after their conversation during the storm 2 weeks ago, he'd invited her over to see his home workspace. You actually came, Alex said as he opened the door, sounding genuinely surprised. Did you think I wouldn't? I wasn't sure. You've been pretty busy lately. It was true. Since that night when her project got canceled, Maya had been working on something new during her evenings and weekends. She'd been secretive about it, not ready to share until she had something concrete to show. Alex's apartment was smaller than she'd expected, but it felt warm and lived in. Books were stacked on every surface, and the walls were covered with photographs of buildings from around the world. But what caught her attention immediately was the dining table, which was covered with architectural drawings, building models, and design sketches. Sorry about the mess, Alex said, following her gaze. I've been working on this project every night for weeks. Maya moved closer to look at the drawings. Even to her untrained eye, she could see that this was something special. The building was modern but welcoming, with lots of natural light and open spaces. This is the community center? She asked. Yeah, the presentation is next Friday, and I'm completely nervous about it. It's beautiful, Alex, really. You think so? I keep second-guessing everything. Maybe the design is too modern for a small town. Maybe they'll think it's too expensive to build. Maya studied the drawings more carefully. She could see how much thought had gone into every detail. There were spaces for children to play, quiet corners for reading, and a large multi-purpose room that could host community events. Can I ask you something? She said. Sure. What happens if they don't like it? Alex was quiet for a moment. Then I go back to designing office buildings and try not to think about what could have been. And if they do like it, then I get to build something that actually matters, something that could change how people in that community connect with each other. Maya could hear the passion in his voice, the same way he'd encouraged her to think about work that mattered. I want to help, she said suddenly. Help how? With your presentation. I know about presenting ideas to clients, about how to tell a story that makes people care. Alex looked surprised. You'd do that? Of course. This project deserves to succeed. They spent the next hour going through Alex's presentation plans. He had all the technical details perfect, but Maya could see that he wasn't telling the story of why this building mattered. You're focusing too much on what the building is, she said. You need to focus on what it could do for people. What do you mean? Maya picked up one of his sketches showing children in the play area. This isn't just a play space. It's where kids will make their first friends, where parents will connect with other families, where someone might discover they love reading, or art or music. Alex stared at the drawing like he was seeing it with new eyes. You're right. I've been so worried about the technical stuff that I forgot about the human part. They worked together for hours, reorganizing his presentation to tell the story of how the building would bring the community together. Maya helped him identify the key moments that would matter most to the town council, while Alex explained the design choices that would make those moments possible. You're really good at this, Alex said as they took a break for dinner. So are you. We make a good team. It was true. Maya hadn't felt this energized about a project in years. Even though it wasn't technically her work, she found herself caring deeply about whether Alex's design would get approved. Okay, now it's your turn, Alex said as they finished eating. My turn for what? To tell me what you've been working on. You've been mysteriously busy for 2 weeks. Maya felt her stomach flutter with nerves. She'd been planning to wait until she had everything figured out. But sitting here in Alex's apartment, surrounded by his dreams and plans, she realized she was ready to share. I've been putting together a business plan, she said quietly. For what? My own consulting company, focused on helping nonprofits and small businesses with marketing and community engagement. Alex's face lit up. Maya, that's amazing. Tell me everything. Maya pulled out her phone and showed him the notes she'd been working on. She'd researched other consulting firms, looked into business licenses, and even started reaching out to potential clients. The literacy nonprofit that canceled their campaign? I contacted them directly. Turns out they loved my ideas, but their marketing budget got cut by their board. If I could work with them for a reduced rate, they'd be interested. That's incredible. What else? There's a community garden that needs help with fundraising, a small theater group that wants to reach new audiences, a women's shelter that needs a better website. Alex was quiet for a moment, looking through her notes. You've really thought this through, he said finally. I'm terrified, Maya admitted. What if I can't find enough clients? What if I'm not as good at this as I think I am? What if you are as good as you think you are? What if this is exactly what you're supposed to be doing? Maya looked around Alex's apartment, at all his drawings and models and dreams spread out on every surface. How do you do it? She asked. How do you put yourself out there like this? Honestly, I don't know. I just know that I'd rather try and fail than never try at all. They spent the rest of the evening working on both of their projects. Alex refined his presentation with Maya's help, while Maya worked on her business plan with Alex's encouragement. What would you call your company? Alex asked. Maya had been thinking about that for days. Bridge marketing. Because I want to help organizations build bridges to their communities. I love that. As the night got later, they moved to Alex's couch, their laptops and papers spread out on the coffee table. Maya found herself stealing glances at Alex as he worked, noticing the way he concentrated, the way he got excited when he had a new idea. Alex, she said during a quiet moment. Yeah, thank you. For believing in me even when I don't believe in myself. Thank you for helping me remember why this matters. They looked at each other for a long moment, and Maya felt something shift between them. It wasn't just friendship anymore, though. She wasn't sure what to call it. I should probably head home, she said, though she didn't really want to. Probably, Alex agreed, though he didn't sound like he wanted her to leave either. As Maya gathered her things, Alex walked her to the door. Good luck with your presentation, she said. Good luck with your business plan. Maybe we can celebrate together when we both succeed. Or comfort each other if we both fail, Alex said with a smile. We're not going to fail, Maya said, surprising herself with how confident she sounded. Walking home through the quiet streets, Maya realized that for the first time in her adult life, she felt like she was exactly where she was supposed to be. Not just in terms of her career, but in terms of the people in her life. She was still scared about starting her own business, but now she was excited too. And having Alex believe in her made her believe in herself just a little bit more. Maya adjusted the small sign next to the gallery entrance that read, Community Spaces Architecture for Connection. 6 months ago, she never would have imagined she'd be at an art opening, let alone one celebrating Alex's work. But here she was, wearing her favorite dress and feeling proud of how far they'd both come. The gallery was buzzing with people admiring Alex's photographs of architectural projects from around the region. But the centerpiece of the exhibition was a large model of his community center, which had not only been approved, but was now under construction. Maya, Alex appeared beside her, looking handsome in his navy suit but slightly overwhelmed by all the attention. I can't believe you made it. Are you kidding? I wouldn't miss this for anything. How's the Peterson project going? Maya smiled. The Peterson project was her biggest client yet, a local food bank that wanted to completely rebrand their community outreach. It was exactly the kind of meaningful work she'd dreamed about. Really well. We're launching the new campaign next week, but tonight is about you. They walked through the gallery together, stopping to look at Alex's photographs. Maya was amazed by how he'd captured not just buildings but the way people interacted with spaces, children playing in parks, families gathering in community centers, workers collaborating in thoughtfully designed offices. These are beautiful, said an older woman who'd been studying one of the photographs. Are you the photographer? I am, Alex replied, still sounding a bit surprised when people recognized his work. The way you show how spaces bring people together, it's really special. After the woman moved on, Maya nudged Alex's shoulder. See? I told you your work was amazing. I still can't believe people actually want to see it. Maya looked around the gallery, which was packed with visitors. Believe it. They were interrupted by Janet from HR, who appeared with a group of their former co-workers. Maya, Alex, we had to come support our former colleagues. Maya felt a moment of awkwardness. She'd left her old job 3 months ago to focus on her consulting business full-time, and she knew some people thought she was crazy for giving up a steady paycheck. How's the entrepreneurial life? Asked Dave from accounting, and Maya couldn't tell if he was being genuine or sarcastic. Challenging but rewarding, Maya said diplomatically. She's being modest, Alex jumped in. Her business is taking off. She just signed 3 new clients this month. Maya felt grateful for Alex's support, but also proud that it was true. Bridge marketing was small, but it was growing steadily. After their former co-workers moved on, Alex and Maya found a quiet corner of the gallery. Thanks for that, Maya said. For what? For bragging about my business. For believing in me even when other people think I'm crazy. You're not crazy. You're brave. Maya looked around the gallery again, taking in all the people enjoying Alex's work. So are you. Can I tell you something? Alex asked. Always. 6 months ago, I never would have had the courage to put my work out there like this. But watching you start your own business, seeing you take that leap, it inspired me to take some risks too. Maya felt warmth spread through her chest. Really? Really? You showed me that it's possible to do work that actually matters. They were interrupted by the gallery owner, who wanted to introduce Alex to a potential client from a neighboring town. As Alex was pulled away, Maya continued walking through the exhibition on her own. She stopped in front of a photograph of the community center construction site. Even half-built, she could see how the building was going to transform the space. Families were already gathering to watch the progress, children pressing their faces against the construction fence. That's going to be something special, said a voice beside her. Maya turned to see an elderly man with kind eyes and paint-stained fingers. Are you familiar with the project? Maya asked. I live in that town. I've been watching them build it. The kids are so excited they ask me every day when it'll be finished. The architect is a friend of mine. He put his heart into this design. You can tell, buildings like this don't happen by accident. Someone had to really care about bringing people together. Maya smiled, thinking about all the late nights Alex had spent perfecting his plans, all the ways he'd worried about whether the design would serve the community well. Alex returned just as the gallery owner was making an announcement. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank everyone for coming tonight to celebrate the work of Alex Rodriguez. His photography shows us that architecture isn't just about buildings. It's about creating spaces where human connections can flourish. There was applause, and Maya watched Alex's face flush with pride and embarrassment. I'd also like to mention that Alex has agreed to donate a portion of tonight's sales to the literacy nonprofit, featured in one of his community center photographs. Maya's eyes widened. Alex hadn't mentioned that. That was your idea, wasn't it? She whispered. Maybe, Alex said with a grin. After the formal part of the evening ended, Maya and Alex walked out into the cool night air. The city was quiet, with just the distant sound of traffic and the soft glow of streetlights. I'm proud of you, Maya said as they walked slowly down the sidewalk. I'm proud of you too. We both did it, didn't we? We found work that actually matters. We did. They walked in comfortable silence for a while, past late-night cafes and bookstores, past the little park where they used to walk to work together. Maya, Alex said as they reached the corner where they would part ways to go to their respective apartments. Yeah? I know we've both been focused on our careers lately, and I don't want to complicate things, but Maya felt her heart speed up. But I think we're good together, not just as friends, but as a team. Tonight, seeing you support my work, knowing that I've been part of your journey too, it made me realize that what we have is pretty special. Maya looked at Alex standing under the streetlight, looking nervous but hopeful, and she realized she'd been waiting for this conversation for months. I think so too, she said quietly. So what do we do about that? Maya stepped closer to him. I think we keep doing what we've been doing, supporting each other, believing in each other, building something together. Something together. Our careers, our dreams, whatever comes next. Alex smiled and Maya felt like everything was finally falling into place. I like the sound of that. They stood there for a moment, close enough that Maya could see the gold flecks in Alex's brown eyes, could smell his cologne mixed with the gallery's coffee. Can I kiss you? Alex asked softly. I was wondering when you were going to ask. When Alex leaned down to kiss her, Maya felt like she was coming home. It was gentle and sweet and perfect, and when they finally pulled apart, both of them were smiling. So what happens now? Alex asked. Now we keep building, Maya said. Together. As they walked toward Maya's apartment hand in hand, Maya thought about how much had changed since that company retreat where they first met. She'd left her safe job to start her own business. Alex had put his creative work out into the world. They'd both learned to take risks and trust in their own abilities. But more than that, they'd learned to trust each other, to be vulnerable and honest and supportive even when things got scary. Maya realized that this was what real partnership looked like. Not just romance, but two people helping each other become the best versions of themselves. Thank you, she said as they reached her building. For what this time? Alex asked with a laugh. For everything. For believing in me. For showing me what it looks like to pursue work that matters. For being brave enough to put yourself out there. Thank you for doing the same for me. As Maya watched Alex walk away down the quiet street, she felt a deep sense of contentment. 6 months ago, she'd been stuck in a job that drained her energy and made her feel invisible. Now she was building a business she loved, surrounded by people who supported her dreams and falling in love with someone who understood her completely. Tomorrow she would wake up excited about the work ahead of her. Next week, she would launch her biggest campaign yet. Next month, Alex would break ground on his community center, and she would be there cheering him on. But tonight, she was simply grateful for how far they'd both come, and excited about everything still to come.